Hello and welcome to episode 5 of the Parenting Tools podcast with me, Jason.
And me, Jordan, and a very special guest.
Special guest.
Dan. Dan, welcome to the Parenting Tools podcast.
Good to be here. I'm excited.
Good to have you.
Let's go. It's hot.
It's very hot.
It's very hot.
Yeah, well, you're special because you've got a beanie on and it's 28 degrees outside.
Yeah, that's the benefit of having a child. Doesn't let you shower. So
It's just a load of grease under
I'm just
there.
hiding it. It's like a chip shop under my head.
Dan, I don't know if you heard. Last pod, we invented a game called Child or Dog. things that you could say to a child or a dog, and it could go either way.
Okay.
Such as, don't wipe your bum on the carpet.
We've had some of these sent in, haven't we?
Yeah.
So this is just amazing shout out to the Instagram stories.
So yeah, we've had quite a few. I'm going to go through and pick out some of my favourite ones. She's peeing up the wall.
Wow. Yeah, that's a good one.
I'm not sure how a baby could do that.
Especially because they said she.
Yeah, that's what I'm
If
saying.
it was a he,
Unless you're doing a handstand.
cock in the leg. Child or dog. Get down off the table.
Yeah.
You're not sleeping in our bed. And my personal favourite came from my mum. And that's not why it's my personal favourite. I'm not being biased, but she doesn't like having her hair brushed. Just a matted dog.
I've heard so many parents use that about their kids.
Yeah?
She doesn't like getting her hair brushed. That actual phrase. I've heard it a few times.
How's Noah's hair with hair brushing?
She hasn't got that much hair, to be honest. So it's not really that much of a challenge at the moment.
Our little girl's not got much. But it's very matted, though. Just porridge.
Porridge, yeah.
Porridge in the
At
hair.
what point are you supposed to cut children's hair?
When it gets too long.
When it gets full of porridge.
It's just like the rest of us.
too long.
When it gets too long, you just cut it.
I must admit, I'm tempted to take the clippers to Jax's hair because he's got everything's normal apart from these little just dangly bits over his ears.
Yeah.
And I don't know what to do with them because you can't like slick them back because they just pop right back out and it's a nightmare. So I don't know.
I don't know if it's appropriate to use like hair gel on
Spray.
kids. You imagine like little toddlers run around like they come out fresh out of grease.
Gee.
So we've got an opening question that's come in
Oh, come on.
via voice note.
Ooh.
Now I'm a big fan of this.
Love
So
the
if you
voice
want to send
notes.
your questions into us at Parenting Tools Pod,
On TikTok. And
can you do voice notes on TikTok?
I'm just so keen to promote the TikTok.
We're enjoying TikTok, aren't we?
But you can send it on Instagram, right?
You can do voice notes on Instagram at Parenting Tools Pod. This has come from Isaac, and it's one that we can all relate to.
Go on,
I'm
then.
pretty certain.
What was the worst Poonami you have ever had to deal with?
What is the worst?
I gotta say,
Poonami?
I love the way he just said that.
So much enthusiasm.
Like you can tell as well, like he's in a crowded area there, and he is not embarrassed.
He's
by
not-
what he is doing.
He is smiling as he's saying this.
What was the worst Poonami you have ever had to deal with?
Yeah, he nearly broke out in laughter on the
He is
Poonami.
he is thrilled that he's got the word Poonami.
He's on the bus. In rush hour.
So, special guest Dan,
Hmm.
do you want to define Poonami for the listeners that maybe don't know what?
Yeah, so Tsunami of Poo.
It's one of those terms that I heard a long time before I was a parent.
Yeah.
And when I first heard it, I went, that's just silly. You're just a parent who's using silly language.
Yeah.
Now I've experienced, I'm like, no, that is the most accurate
It's definitely
definition.
Yeah.
It is. It's so relatable. So relatable. So, I'll let one of you go first.
I don't know if it's the worst. It's definitely the first one.
You never forget your first.
But Noah was in NICU, so in the hospital at the time, and she was in like the last stage, so literally just before she's coming home, and wait,
Exciting times.
But one of the benefits of like going through that process is that the nurses essentially show you how to look after your baby. Like you're not just, here's your baby, got your car seat, off you go. They literally show you how to do everything, and it's brilliant.
Little tutorial.
Literally, they don't let you change the first nappy. They have to do it because there's loads of anyway.
Yeah.
She was stirring, and she was in this open incubator, so there's no lid. That's important for the story, and probably about a metre away from the wall. Again, an important detail.
No lid and a metre away.
Exactly what
trajectory.
Happened. She hadn't pooed in a few days, and when it did come, it was explosive. Literally, there was a trail up the wall.
Wowza.
And what's funny is that during lunchtime in the NICU, the parents often leave. And so,
Just got left.
Hang on a second. Can I skip back?
Yeah.
20 seconds. Do you say up the wall?
up, yeah. So so you imagine there's the incubator,
Yeah.
a little gap,
She's cleared
and
it.
then wall. Yeah,
Up
so
the wall.
she's cleared it, and then obviously hit the wall, but there's a little trail, and so you can trace it. It wasn't korma poo, but it was definitely the colour of korma poo.
I remember you saying
face.
about it was hot in that NICU. as
Oh
well.
yes, because it was that hot summer.
Hot summer.
It was boiling, and so that was one of those
Sweaty
ones.
wall poo.
That was one of those ones where I was like, nurses are. This is my first time. You have to help me.
Sweaty wall poo.
Yeah, I've never dealt with a wall poo before. Can you show me?
That's not good.
I'm ignorant.
Anyway, Dan, what about you? Got any Poonami stories?
Yeah,
What's the situ?
my little boy did one recently, which was fun. We
Fresh.
visited my dad in Somerset for the weekend, and he decided to lick everything at the soft play and pick up a bug.
Because this is one of my pet hates.
Soft play.
Soft plays.
Yeah.
In fact, any area where children gather. Too many germs.
Disgusting.
Germs.
We should just put them all in those little Zorb balls.
Yeah.
That's how I should interact with other children.
Then you can
Sorry,
throw
Nick.
them.
Oh dear. Just launch.
boot it.
Well, yeah, like a kid coughs near your kid, just shit out the top, kick him out.
Sorry, Dan. Continue with your story.
No, that's fine. We were down at my dad's, and he decided to pick up a bug after licking the contents of soft play, and it was not great. My dad's just had new flooring all the way through the lounge through to the conservatory, and brand new delicious rugs.
Delicious rugs.
Like Candy Crush.
Do you taste them?
It's delicious. I love that game. Anyway, we digress. Two beautiful new rugs with delicious flooring. And you know, babies have poo faces. So we have this chair that we put him in when he needs a poo, and it vibrates. It's wicked. It used to put him to sleep. Now it just makes him poo.
Do they do adult versions?
It's not the first time we've been asked that. No, but legit, it just works everything out. Just wiggles stuff down. It's brilliant. We always put him in it if he needs a poo or he hasn't pooed for a couple of days. So he was in it, and he looked a bit sheepish. He hadn't done his poo face because every kid has a poo face, and I was like, I'm not sure. I think I could smell something, and so I went down and I just lifted his leg up, just had a peek, and then it was almost like a pressure.
Pressure release.
Pressure release. You know when you take
Little valve.
You know when you take the you know when you take the hose off the car tire and it's like psst. It was literally like that. Literally, I lifted his leg up, opened it, and dripped all over my arm, and it dripped down the chair onto the new rug.
The delicious rug.
The delicious rug.
That's
It's
not
no
delicious
longer
anymore.
Delicious.
And literally, so I was like, oh crap, that's a lot of poo.
Literal.
And literally, my dad came in. He was like, okay, that's I could see him sweat dripping on the bow.
Was he fuming?
No, he did the dad thing. You know, he's like, do you know what? I'm not upset. I'm just disappointed.
Oh, it's the worst.
And he was like, okay, we can deal with this. Just don't tell Joe. A new carpet. So we managed to get it up anyway. And then it took 3 of us to change his nappy. I had a peg on my nose. It was nasty. Right, I have to do peg every poo now.
Really?
Nightmare. It stinks. I've thrown up 3 times.
I thought you were joking about the peg.
No, I'm not joking.
You've got a peg?
Yeah. It's in the nappy bag. Just stick it on. You just because it's a small peg as well. It hurts, but you just push through it.
Oh my! I can't believe I missed this Poonami story. Legitimately, Noah, 6 months old, going to Christmas, hadn't pooed for 13 days.
Like 2 weeks.
Yeah,
I remember
literally
that.
Christmas Eve.
12 days of Christmas.
Yeah, it was Christmas Eve,
Yeah.
13th day without poo, and it was my turn to go to A&E. We're taking it in turns, as you do.
Yeah.
You usually play rock paper scissors, but it got too many. We were like, let's just do a tally system.
On the wall.
No poo for 13 days in A&E for like ages. This doctor just comes in, gets that thermometer, and goes, "It's going to be uncomfortable."
Ooh.
Little wiggle.
A little wiggle, and it exploded what felt like for 5 minutes. And the first one was like a pale green, just liquid, and it kept going until it eventually turned into normal poo colour.
That's been in there. It's gone off.
But legitimately, it's been out of the fridge too
It's not
long.
ripe. It's not ripe anymore.
Mouldy poo.
Came out with mushrooms.
I can't believe I forgot about that. Probably to do with trauma. Literally, just oh my word.
I have had the thermometer.
With you?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
by yourself.
No. Yeah. What you just need is a vibrating chair and a thermometer.
I'll be back in a bit.
No, I was I think about a day or two old. And my dad, when me and Leanne first started
I thought you
going
meant
out.
recently.
No,
a day
not
or two
recently.
ago.
Not really. I've had the thermometer last week.
It's been really struggling. 13 days of that poo.
In this heat. I just wanted to see how hot I was inside. But no, I was a couple of days old and I'd not been. And my dad tells Leanne this story probably every 6 months. But yeah, thermometer up, and there we go.
Was it a one-off occasion? Because like we had to do it for like months, like 3 months. We had to help Noah poo
Oh man.
because it was that thing we figured out that she was allergic to milk, but the doctors didn't know.
It is legit. They say it's rare. It isn't. Every kid has a milk allergy. It must have.
So many children have a milk allergy. But anyway, so was it just, we're going back to my question. Was it a one-off or just?
No, it was a one-off, I think. Well, I've got no memory of it.
One-off thermometer poke.
Yeah, I've got no memory of it, but there we go. Thank you, Isaac, for the Poonami question.
That was very good.
And the enthusiasm in asking the question.
Yeah, the enthusiasm and
So if you
everything.
could top that enthusiasm next time you send in a voice note.
Yeah, please send us in your questions via voice note. But also, we want to hear your Poonami stories.
Yeah, good Poonami stories. We've also had a Gmail in.
We've had a Gmail.
A Gmail.
Gmail.
We've had a Gmail in.
For long-time listeners.
And this is a special occasion because this is our first Gmail.
This is our first email correspondence.
It is. And it says this. Hi, Jason.
Ooh.
Cheers.
Oh.
Now, I'm all good. I'm not insecure at all. But it does say, hi, Jason. It says, it's Dean here. How are you doing? So from the sound of this, it sounds like you know Dean.
I know Dean.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I'm sure you'd have said my name if you knew me as well. Says, loving the podcast. It's been really helpful. Do you know what? That's good to hear. It's good to hear. And he's got a little boy, Jackson, who is 6.5 weeks old. So at the time of sending this, he's probably now 7 weeks old.
One of the most popular names as well.
Jackson.
Jackson, yep.
Is it?
2022.
They knowledge.
Yeah.
He's a little dude, and he's a very chill baby. And he's
Sorry, how old?
6.5 weeks old.
6.5 weeks.
Fresh out the womb.
Wow.
Yeah.
Freshly baked.
Not under baked. He's got a daddy issue for us. He says, my daddy issue is a serious one that I've been struggling with. I'm finding it really hard to settle him when he cries. He screams the house down, even after I've done all the checks, the usual. Nappy, feed, sleep, play, and cuddles. You've missed out burp there, Dean. That might be where... We've solved it. Right, let's move on.
There's a tickle in there as well.
Tickle. Give him a tickle.
I never thought when I was crying.
Give her...
Give her a tickle. Give it a go. Give it a go, Dean. It might work.
So he says, I've done all the checks. Nappy, feed, play, cuddle. I'm guessing that he's done the burping and the tickling and everything else. But nothing seems to work when I try to settle him. But when I pass him to my wife, he stops crying and everything is all right with the world. Do you guys have any advice? Now, Dan. Oh, and he finishes with this. It's also my birthday on Friday, and I'd love a shout out.
Happy birthday.
But that was last Friday.
That was last Friday
Happy
after we'd
birthday.
recorded. So we'd missed it. But happy birthday to you, Dean.
Happy birthday, Dean.
Happy birthday. Hope you had a great one. So, Dan, I'm going to defer to you here because you've got the youngest child out of us. Any advice?
I think the first they get right at the beginning. They're like, "I'll take anything. I'll take anybody," because all they do is eat, sleep, and Poonami. Right. So
And get tickled.
And get tickled. Yeah. But they get to an age where they start to prefer one parent potentially, which is a little bit horrible. Because I remember the first time he couldn't be consoled in when he was sleeping, and I tried for flipping ages, and then Bex came across, hand into the cot, and he was fine, went straight off. To be honest, I think there are certain things that women give off that men cannot give off.
Milk.
That'd be one of them.
No, but absolutely, like completely biologically, like
100%.
they are designed in a way to be the primary like source of care. Like, and obviously, you know, I'm all for equality and all that sort of stuff, but there is definitely a biological difference. And I think most parents have been there with an inconsolable child where literally nothing you do can help. And like I've been there where actually M was the way to like make it stop, make the grind stop. And like it literally comes, I put it down to the fact of there are different hormones involved here. First of all, I'm not carrying milk. And I think, and don't quote me on this, but I think there is definitely a difference in scent between mum and dad.
100%.
Yeah, and it's just that thing of...
Especially on a hot day like this.
Jeez. It's not a pleasant one.
Blokes just stink.
But like, for me, like when you can't settle them, that is some of the most stressful like experiences that I've had. And some of the worst purchases I've made on Amazon. Based on the fact I can't get my child to settle.
I wonder what you purchased.
What have you bought?
An inconsolable child.
Is this not a thing?
Breast milk. Just a little pouch.
Like, do you not do like panic buy things, hoping that it will solve your problem?
Yeah.
Middle of the night Amazon
yeah.
buying.
And so like once we were struggling to get her to sleep, and she once fell asleep on her changing mat, and so I went, I know what I'll do. I'll buy another changing mat, but put it where her bed's supposed to go. Didn't work.
Now you got 2 changing mats. You don't need them.
But like, I think so often we can be concerned trying to find an answer when we're doing all the right things.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's literally just as simple as just for these few weeks, because it changes so quickly. Just be happy that they're settled. And I think, like from my experience, it changes so quickly. Like we have phases where I'm the favourite, where M's the favourite, but actually it's just. Even now, like when Noah gets upset, and actually sometimes she just prefers mum, and that's okay because actually there's that natural kind of source of that's what she's naturally supposed to fulfill, that kind of void.
Yeah. My nephew is nearly 10 now, but when he was little, when he was a baby, he was just having a bit of a time of it at my mum and dad's house. My dad couldn't settle him, my mum couldn't settle him. I tried, and my dad eventually said, "But I think he just wants his mum." Passed him to his mum, just stopped crying straight away.
Wow.
It's just a maternal thing. So yeah, I wouldn't be too disheartened, Dean. Try not to be.
I think my one bit of advice to Dean would be, like, you're only 6.5 weeks in. It feels like you're completely in the weeds and you can't see the end of this issue. It goes by so quickly once you've journeyed it. But in the moment, it can feel all-consuming. And so just keep going. Hold on. Maybe try burp.
Enjoy it.
Enjoy the crying.
Enjoy just passing him off to the mum.
I hadn't even thought about that.
Yeah, it's a great shout. It's a great shout.
Yeah, enjoy it.
But at the beginning, you don't want to enjoy it, don't you?
You want to be with them all the time.
You want to be the one that like
I'm
consoles
speaking as a father of 2 here. Enjoy it. Enjoy the space.
Give or take. Want to be with them every now and again.
So, thank you, Dean. Really appreciate your email. And of course, if you want to email us, you can. If you want to Gmail us, you can.
parentalspod@gmail.com.
Gmail.com.
Learn it for this episode.
So, Dean has nicely segued us there into daddy issues,
Daddy issues.
where we talk about our issues as dads, if you weren't aware, Dan. And this week is our toddler, Luca. I think he's suffering with hay fever. So I'm not a GP. I'm not a doctor. But he's rubbing his eyes, he's rubbing his nose a lot, as we all are. And the other day, he was wiping his face and he said, "Daddy, it's not working."
Oh.
I said, "What's not working?"
Oh.
He went, "My nose."
That's so sweet.
And I was just like,
Get
oh
him up,
my
let's give him a
lord.
cuddle.
Yeah, I was like, come here, mate.
Oh.
So yeah, that's a bit of it. Not a major issue, but it really, like, my heart broke for him.
But like, how like serious is it? Like, is it keeping him up at night, or is it?
He's taken a bit longer to settle, and he's saying things like, my nose doesn't
That
work.
was really cute.
Yeah, it is really cute. But yeah, that's been a bit of a struggle. More to see him struggling with it than anything. But
'Cause you feel so like useless, don't you? Like you can't help but like want to take it away. Not his nose, the hay fever. You want to take all the issues away and like fix it,
yeah,
but you just can't. And it's like,
Well,
ah,
my wife found some like hay fever medicine that's child friendly
ooh,
for his age.
yeah, yeah.
We tried to give it to him, and he was like, "That's yucky. That's not Calpol."
Cowball has ruined us.
yeah.
Ah,
I love Calpol. Do you know when he refuses to take it? I'm like, get in, get it in.
I'll have it if you don't want it.
Yeah,
waste
syringe
it.
it in. So yeah, that's my daddy issue this week. But I think a more serious issue is the sleep. Right, we're coming back to the sleep all the time, and we had friends over yesterday. Not seen them for a while. Got some friends that have had a baby recently, like 2 months old. I could not stay awake. I was just falling. I fell asleep like 3 or 4 times. Just
10 p.m.
honest. It was like middle of the day. We were out on the grass because it was it's nice, and we just sat around eating lunch. I just fall asleep. Fell asleep like literally 3 or 4 times. I could not stay awake. And then see friends that like your best friends.
Yeah.
If you're gonna fall asleep with anyone, it's them. Like, but I felt awful.
The thing is, like, sleep is one of those things where, like, I go through phases where I think we've cracked it. Great. Like, last week, Noah was sleeping through. Thought it was amazing. She has one bad night, and it's not like you can stack sleep. It's not like you have one good night that keeps you going for a week of terrible nights. As soon as you have that first bad night, it's right back to square one.
That's exactly what it was.
And like, this is quite a good segue because I know I've had some chats with Dan. Like, it right at the beginning of when Jax was around, sleep was like a huge issue.
Yeah.
Do you want to elaborate on that?
Yeah. I was full blown sleep deprived. Like, it was horrendous. And it had only been a week. I think he'd only been home a week. And I thought I was going insane. Like, and I was like, what is going on? I was reading into like postnatal depression for men.
It's a thing.
Like,
Yeah.
It's
it's
a
a
thing.
serious thing. And I realised after racking my brains, I was like, I must be sleep deprived. Because I had some dark thoughts. It was no joke. I was like, oh, I can't do this. I'm going to walk out. Like it was like feelings like that. And I ended up, it was probably the 5th night, and I was speaking to Bex, and then Jax wasn't settling, and I was like, I don't know what to do. And she'd had no sleep either, and she's a very patient woman. She has to be married to me. And she went, I don't know either. Just figure it out. And I was like, what is it, the whip that broke the camel's back or something?
It is now.
Something like that.
The straw.
The straw.
Yeah.
The whip.
The whip. It'll break a camel's back.
Yeah.
More than a piece of straw would. I mean, I don't get the saying. But anyway, but that literally, that was that. And I went downstairs to wash the plastics up because with a newborn, you just constantly
So
wash it.
much washing of plastic.
Flipping heck.
Constant rinsing.
I had prawns for hands. Like, they were just, I literally looked down.
Evolved.
They were just
The
literally
great gills.
they'd shriveled up. I was like, what's going on? But I was washing up, and I just burst into tears, and I had no idea why, because it was just, I was just tired. I went back upstairs, and I didn't want to go back in because I was like, I don't want Bex to get upset that I was crying. And it's unusual. I don't think I'd cried like that in about 15 years.
Wow.
I do cry. It's good to cry every now and again, but not like that. Like,
Not like that.
I was hysterical.
Balling.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I came back in, and I was like, and I don't know what's wrong. She was like, and she'd managed to settle Jax, which was amazing. So that was a load off. And then for like the next couple of hours, I was just crying constantly. So Bex had to call her mum like 3 a.m. You need to come over because I don't know what's wrong with Dan. It's more loving than that. I don't know what's wrong with him. You need to come over. But
There's a camel on his whip.
But she came over, and I tell you what, it was a lifesaver because they all went downstairs, and I just slept, and in the morning I felt so much better, and I was like, I just had a moment of wisdom. I I went online, looked at sleep deprivation, and had every single symptom that was linked.
Wow.
It was like dark thoughts,
Yep.
like uncontrollable emotion, you name it, and it's the real deal. So we just had a conversation. We were like, we need to figure out how we're going to solve this together. Like, it's really important that if you're feeling any of those things, just speak to your spouse, because it's so important. Like, if one of you's struggling but you don't talk about it, it's not going to go away.
Oh, it's legit. And like, we genuinely came up with a system of like phrases. Sounds really funny, but it's serious. Of like phrases that when it's like, this is like critical, like we need to deal with this. And the worst one is pineappled. Like when one of us says pineapple, that's like, right, I'm taking the kid. Like, this is it. You just go sleep. But because we've been in that place where everything just gets so stressed, or maybe you're so ill, or like you're just mentally completely exhausted, it's like once you reach that place, you're no help to anyone.
No.
Like, and if you just keep going, it's just going to cause arguments. It's like a danger to yourself almost
Definitely.
in that space. And so it's like, as soon as one of us plays the pineapple card, that's it. Like, and like, we don't take the mick. I try to. Every morning, I'm pineappled, you know? You got to get her up.
Get out there. Use that one last night.
But legitimately, like, and having those conversations, I found in the beginning, like, particularly hard. Like, because, like, for me, like, not knowing what's going on in my own head, that's always quite scary. But then also inviting in like your spouse or someone into that conversation of going, I actually don't know what's wrong, but I just
something's wrong.
Yeah, something's wrong, and we just need to crack it.
Yeah. I remember coming and seeing you when Jax was a couple of weeks old, and it was like you were looking through me when you were talking to me. Your like eyes were just glazed, and you were telling me all of this, and I giggled, and you went, "I'm being serious," and I said, "Well, I'm laughing because I was there."
Yeah.
And with our second, like I said I think it was episode 1, there's no sleep in the night, there's no sleep in the day with a toddler. I was there, and I remember we had been to see some friends, and I'd fallen asleep again on their sofa, and we were talking. And I just said, and I used the phrase, "I just don't feel like myself," and I'm
100%.
Then I was speaking to you, and that's what you said, and I was like, "Mate, I was there," and I just remember you going, "Really?" And I was like, "Yeah, like it's a thing." It's a big thing, and it's horrible when you're in it, because I remember thinking, if I had a time machine, would I go back? And this was like a night for me where I thought, I've got this beautiful baby girl. I've got a sore throat. I thought, I've got this beautiful baby girl. I've got a healthy boy. Everything's great on the surface, and I just feel awful. And then I felt bad because I felt bad.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I didn't feel good, so I was feeling
Like
worse.
guilt.
Yeah, I felt guilt. I felt guilt, and I thought, if I had a time machine, would I go back and And that thought of would I go back and not have her wounded me.
Wow.
Thinking like that, I felt really upset with myself that I thought that, and then I thought, if I had a time machine, I'd skip forward a few weeks and get this stage out of the way. But it's such a good stage, like we were saying about with Dean. You do want to be there. Like, I know we joked about enjoy it, that that the wife's gonna settle them, but you want to be involved. And I remember you specifically like saying, I can't wait for the newborn phase. Like, bring it on. Bring on the late nights, bring on the sleepless nights, bring on the nappies. And then when your experience is different to your expectation, it's hard.
Yeah.
It's super hard.
Me and my wife's, she was like, I don't want the newborn phase. I was really like, I want couples with a newborn. Couples? You're speaking child languages now. You want cuddles with a newborn, but then we switched. So she loved the newborn phase, and I got to moments where I was like, I hate this. This is a nightmare, and I just wanted him to be a little bit older. Love the kid, never has that died off. But it's just, the first, especially the first 6 weeks, it was difficult because that's when they're first learning everything. Like, they've just been in a ball in a womb for 9 months. Like, they don't know any better. So all this stuff's like brand new, and it just it does take over your life. But
yeah, for sure.
So was that, probably for both of you, like, was it was it just like sleep? Was that the one thing that was, when that's right, everything else is good, or was there something else behind it?
Definitely helps.
Yeah.
It definitely. I just get a system in place. That's because we did, and our system ended up being, I went to bed between 8 and 10 because he started getting really sleepy. After like a couple of weeks, you figure out a pattern. Started getting sleepy at 10, so I would go to bed at 8, get a solid 2 hours in, and then Bex would come up and wake me up, and then it just starts the night off on a much better foot.
What I find interesting is that people listen to this that maybe don't have kids or never been there. Think about a system where you get 2 hours sleep. It sounds insane.
Sacred.
But also, when you've been there, it's like, man, that system.
Yeah.
Whew.
That was really important.
So on the back of that, like, so have you experienced any of those like same thoughts or feelings since, where maybe it wasn't just the sleep depravity, if that makes sense?
I don't think I have in that depth. I think the sleep deprivation really was a bad thing. Like it was that serious. I've not actually had thoughts like I did have then.
Wow.
Once we'd figured it out. I mean, once you have a couple of days of like, okay, this is the new thing where we actually a lot sometimes. Be kind to yourself. Like we were kind to ourselves and we went, I need to sleep here, you need to sleep there. And then you just kind of learnt to deal with the less sleep, but more sleep than you were having. And you work together. But yeah, I don't think, I haven't had thoughts or feelings as dark as I had when I realised it was sleep deprivation since, which is great.
Yeah.
Were you kind of relieved when you realised it's just sleep deprivation?
Yeah.
Like,
I went through everything. I was like I said earlier, I was like, am I depressed? Like, is this? But then it's like, and it even went through my head, oh, but that's a bit awkward. I can't tell people that I've got the man version of postnatal depression because...
Yeah, like the amount of stigma that goes around that.
It's
Most
like,
people don't even know that's a real thing.
So
but
my thought was genuinely like, women are going to look at me and go, what are you on about? So,
yeah, you've had it easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've done the hard bit.
Yeah.
Which they have.
Yeah. Although Beck says our baby was extracted as opposed to given birth. She had a planned C-section. I'm like, cut yourself some slack, love. You carried him 9 months. And
I remember her
major
saying
abdominal
that.
Surgery. Like,
I remember her saying that. She was like, well, I didn't give birth. He was extracted.
All I can imagine is Toy Story. The claw.
Yeah.
You saved our lives. We're eternally grateful.
Imagine.
Yeah,
imagine.
Green man.
So what would you say then is like the biggest change that being a dad has brought?
I think it comes with seasons. I think at the beginning, the biggest change was sleep. Now he's 5.5 months old. It's not as much. I think now it's more kind of time to yourself and wanting to do the things that you would have normally done before. Like, we always put massive priority on just spending time together, going away together.
Because you guys were together a long time.
Yeah.
Before
so
having
we've been
kids.
together I'm nearly 30, Bex is 30 now. We've been together since we were 14.
Wow.
So that's a long time of just being together. So when Jax came along, every second of every day was monopolised by what he needed, which you want to do it.
Yeah.
But it's a massive change, and I think time now is really important. So we started really early of sending him to the grandparents for a night, which was scary, but if you can find the courage to do it, it's so rewarding.
Yeah.
Because you can actually just go away, even if it's just for a night, and just spend time, and you will just sit over the dinner table and look at pictures of him.
But also be reminded that you've got more in common than just the child.
Yeah.
That's a great point.
Legitimately, because you spend so much of my conversation, even with them, is dominated by Noah. Even when we're just sat in bed looking at photos of her, even though she's asleep in the next room.
Yep. Just staring at the monitor.
But actually, just being reminded of, like, there's two of us in this relationship, not three, and like there is a three dynamic there. But actually, she's going to leave soon.
Yeah.
17 years, hopefully.
70.
Yeah.
No, that's a really good point. That is a good point. And it's we talked about this on the last episode, didn't we? Finding time for each other and yourself. And but yeah, we were exactly the same. The first time we left him for a night was to go see John Mayer.
Nice.
Yeah.
Go big.
Great.
Yeah, if you're going to leave them for a reason, John Mayer's. John Mayer's.
I feel really bad for
reason.
just leaving for the cinema now.
Wasn't even a good movie.
But yeah, first thing we did was just look at pictures of him.
Yeah.
I still like, so Noah stayed at our in-laws like last weekend, and I miss her. Like, legitimately come home from work and I'm like, oh, I'm a little bit sad. Like, I know we've got a great evening planned. I have to think about it. It's the weird feeling of coming home and not having to do something for like a child. Amazing. But still, I was like, I miss her a little bit.
Yeah, I get that because we came home after our date night, the first time he stayed away, and his little dummy was just on Bex's pillow. And I was like, oh,
You left her there as a
he'd
treat.
normally have that in his mouth. And it really upset me. But then I was like, oh no, hang on. I don't have to get up at 2 to feed him.
Yeah.
Sit back and relax.
Just launch the dummy.
Yeah, just see ya. Out the window. Never did find that. No, but legit, like you do kind of get home and you go, oh, this is great, just the two of us. But then it's a little gentle reminder that he's coming back.
So one of the things I've been wanting to ask you, Dan, specifically on this podcast, because it's not something that many people, I don't think, will be even aware of. It's fairly new, but not many people even know what it's about.
2017 to be exact.
Oh, really? And what we're talking about is shared parental leave. Tell us about that. What is it?
So, I mean, it's awesome. It gives you the opportunity as a couple to split the time up. So instead of your lovely wife being off for 9 months solid, it gives the dad an opportunity to take a little bit of that, but then also benefit from basically what she would benefit from maternity pay.
So like, this is a legal right, isn't it? Like, so anyone can have access to this. Like, every workplace is like required to do it, aren't they? Mm-hmm. So you guys, you're the first people I know that have done it.
Yeah, me too.
It was great fun. I'm in the first week of doing it.
Of how many weeks?
Of 11.
Of 11 weeks.
So I went off the 4th of July.
Yeah.
Till the 19th of September.
Wow.
So what's the reasoning why for that?
So there's a number of different reasons. The biggest one being the best way to do it financially, because anybody who knows who has a kid, maternity pay is not what your normal salary is. But Bex earns a fair whack more than I do. So it made sense because she's, I have to be careful here. I don't want to say a lot more invested in her job than I am, because my boss might be listening. Love you, Paul. But we'll cut that bit. Bex earns a fairly good chunk more than I do. So it just made more sense when she was cut out to the maternity pay that we would then switch over, go back to hers, because her role's a bit strange as well, because she's on a fixed term contract, but in quite a high up role in where she is. So she wanted to stay quite present,
like involved, in
her job, because she absolutely loves it as well. And I just wanted to, we really wanted to kind of make sure that she stayed really present in it. So it just made a lot of financial sense, and also I didn't want to be. I really wanted to be more involved, a lot more involved, and it gave me a really good opportunity to do that. Like, I get now 11 weeks of just being solely responsible for him,
just hanging out
and getting to know him getting to know me. Because I think, a lot of dads, I think, worry about going to work and then spending the whole day apart and then coming home for 5 minutes before the bedtime routine.
Yeah.
Which, heaven forbid, you break the bedtime routine.
We talked about that, didn't we, a few weeks ago?
Yeah.
So yeah, it just gives me a really great opportunity, and it helps that Bex is working from home because if he's screaming, like we said earlier, shout out to Dean. If I cannot console him, she can just pop down and help. And it's just a really good opportunity for me to be the best dad that I can be.
So I love it on like so many fronts, and it's, but it is definitely one of those things where it's like it's quite a cultural challenge, isn't it? Like even like it's been around for some time, like 5 years now. But to even suggest this to like a bunch of lads, oh, I'm going to go and do the like half of maternity leave.
Yeah.
There's still quite a lot of stigma involved there. But like what I love about it is actually there's a lot of time that you miss because you're at work.
Yeah.
And actually being able to be afforded that space. Like if it was purely that my wife was the only person that could do it, which obviously if that they're breastfeeding and stuff, it just practically it makes a lot more sense. But when that's not the case, like it's that thing, you'll never get those moments back. And we've talked about that as well. Have you experienced any, say again, so I spat everywhere. Have you experienced any like pushback from like people or just people that can't get it or like work?
I think a lot of the guys, a lot of girls that I've told that I'm doing it, they're very like, oh, that's amazing. Guys, they're like, you'll be ready to go back to work after 2 weeks, mate. And I'm like, I'm ready to prove you wrong. Like I'm really excited, and I have been for a very long time that this is the time that I get to invest in my lad's life. Like, this is my time.
Yeah.
Mum's done a phenomenal job, and probably, arguably, the hardest part of having a baby.
Sit down, darling. Sorry, I couldn't say that.
Probably
This is where you've set the bar.
But arguably, genuinely, the hardest part of the job, and me going back to work and coming back, and like I said, only having a tiny bit of the bedtime routine to do, and then he's asleep till the next day. Now I get to do my bit, and I get to invest in him, and I get to spend loads of time with him, and I get to tell Bex, oh, he did this today.
Yeah.
Because for so long it's been, oh, he did this today, and it's like, oh man, I really wanted to see it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm having a great time, and I'd strongly recommend it. Obviously, it doesn't work for everybody.
No, yeah.
But it's definitely something you should look into if you haven't looked into it before.
What have you been doing with him?
So this week's been pretty tough because his first tooth came in when he decided to bite my finger this morning, actually. And I was like, I can feel a tooth, and it's flipping sharp. It's like a little puppy. They're just sharp.
Child or dog?
Yeah, literally. Yeah, child or dog.
He nipped me on the finger.
So, like, before all of this, did you have a preconceived, I know you're only a week in, but did you have like a preconceived idea of how difficult this would be? And has that changed? Or did you kind of go into this thinking, kind of getting logistically how difficult it's going to be?
I think I tried to verbally say, it's going to be hard. It's not going to be a walk in the park, but I'm going to embrace it. Like, I wanted to be that guy.
Yeah.
And then, but it was just words. It's waffle. I was like, I had no idea. Like, it does change your life.
Because like my perspective now of like single parents is like my esteem is like through the roof.
Mate.
I'm like, I can't do this with my spouse and the mother-in-law. We are struggling to wrestle one baby.
Absolute champions.
Yeah,
If you're a single parent, shout out to
unbelievable.
you, 'cause
I'm the same.
flipping heck.
I literally cannot understand, cannot fathom how they do it.
So Dan, one final question for you. The age-old thing of, and we just discussed it, like going, man being at work, you come home, you get handed the baby, and you're like, well, I've been at work all day. You've seen it from both sides. Which side is harder? Going to work or having the baby?
I think I'd say now, definitely the baby.
The baby.
I think, do you know what though? I think it goes back to the same thing. Just talk to each other and understand each other, because people do have tough days at work. But ultimately as well, parents have tough days with babies.
Yeah.
And you never know what you're gonna get. So you just gotta be kind to each other and look after each other. And be honest, I've had a terrible day. this is what's happened.
I could just hear collective male groans all around the country there.
You know what? Try share parental. And maybe you'll feel differently.
I think one of the things that I found, particularly when talking to other blokes about it, like when it comes to our work, and it could be a difficult job, it could be challenging, it could be hard, all of that sort of stuff. The only difference being that in your work, you're advancing your career. Like there is definitely a self-satisfactory thing about that. When you're getting stuff done, you're progressing up the ladder. When you're looking after a baby that doesn't give you anything back, specifically in those first few months, like nothing is coming back. You might get the occasional smile when they're trying to fart, but like the mental challenge between that and actually being fulfilled in your job, like parenting, I think is extremely fulfilling, but just you have to take a step back sometimes because it's over a longer period of time.
Yeah, long game.
Yeah, but I think the thing for like if blokes are listening and actually kind of been in that attitude of actually I just won't do anything when I get home because I've been working all day, like try the other way around because it is hard.
It is.
I remember the thing Beck said to me. She was like, "I feel like I'm putting my career on hold," and it was
which it is.
It is 100%.
Oh, it is.
But I think I've said this before as well. I would recommend to anyone having kids, put your career on hold because it's worth it.
Yeah.
Like, and you don't get the chance again.
Yeah.
Whereas for the rest of our lives, you get the chance to work.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah. You're not going to look back and think, "I wish I worked more." You're more likely to think, "I wish I spent more time with my child."
Definitely.
Thanks, Dan. You've been an incredible guest. I've really enjoyed just chatting and kind of hearing some of the stuff that we don't often hear.
Yeah.
Like especially with blokes as well. We don't often talk about this side of things. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you've been amazing.
Please do let us know your comments, your stories, your daddy issues, your child or dog. And you can get in touch.
ParentingToolsPod@gmail.com or on Instagram and TikTok @ParentingToolsPod.
Seamless.
Thank you, Dan. What a legend.